Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to another Supreme Commander kind of tutorial build video. I know the title's super clickbaity, but I do honestly think that this is going to be the biggest thing that'll make a difference in your game and really move you from kind of an intro level player with maybe 10 to 20 games, but you understand the basic mechanics, to somebody that can actually hold their own in the upper levels of the ladder eventually. This is one of the biggest barriers to being able to play kind of at those higher tiers. And so what I'm talking about are hotkeys. If you're not new to RTSs, hotkeys, this shouldn't come as a huge surprise to you at all. I first started using them whenever I was playing Age of Empires 2 way back in the day, before I got into Supreme Commander, before I figured out that this community exists. So today we're going to talk about hotkeys, the way that I have them set up. You guys can either use the way that I have them set up as a template for how to set them up for yourself, or go a completely different route. Ultimately, hotkeys are something that should feel comfortable for you, and that you should it should feel comfortable for you, then that should help you ultimately play the game. So we're going to talk about three different families of hotkeys. One is going to be building hotkeys. The next is going to be movement and command hotkeys. Last is going to be unit selection hotkeys. So starting off with building hotkeys. Whenever you set up hotkeys on a template, or whenever you're setting up your hotkeys, there are a few buildings that I would recommend setting up on your hotkey list. The first is going to be mass extractors, and I have a build mod on, which is why the things are building instantly. But if I push Q, I can gain mass extractors. Because I have a T3 commander right now, I can tab through or click through the different tiers of mass extractor. So even though I'm in Tech 3, if for some reason I want to build a Tech 2 mass extractor instead of a Tech 3, maybe it's a contested area, you can tab through this kind of stuff. The other ones that I would encourage having on your build hotkey list, as far as straight up buildings down here, would be power generators. Same kind of deal, you can tab through the different types of power generators. And then factories, and same deal, tab through the different types of factories. It also counts a quantum gateway as a factory, so it's not just land, air, and navy factories, which I thought was pretty cool whenever I first started looking at factories and hotkeys. So those are building hotkeys initially. These can really help you speed up your initial build order. So if I go through an initial build order and go say, drop my factory, and then I want to drop 3 T1P gens, and then click around and drop some mass extractors, I can set up a build queue much faster. And the faster I set up a build queue at the very beginning of the game, whenever you first gate into a game, is the more time that you have to zoom out, look at the map, look at what the reclaim looks like on the map, how you want to attack your opponents, etc. Instead of spending time moving back and forth and clicking to each one of these icons. I think that if you think back to one of my videos where we talked about getting the most out of your actions per minute, this is a way that you can increase your ability to make actions per minute. Because a lot of players don't realize this, I think, especially that are new to RTSs, but the biggest barrier to high actions per minute is how much your mouse is moving. And if it is moving to create a mass extractor, and then move down here to create a power generator, and then to create a mass fabricator, things like that, this is all extraneous movement where you can set this up much faster. And wow, that mass fabricator looks weird. I don't know what happened to it there, but anyway. So that talks about building hotkeys. Building hotkeys are probably the best way for you to instantly gain actions per minute within a game, is by buckling down and deciding that you're going to use hotkeys for doing most of your major buildings. You're probably not going to use hotkeys for things like nuke defense or artillery, because these things aren't commonly built. At least you probably won't use them at an entry level. I definitely don't use those hotkeys. The pros might, but I definitely do not. So moving on then from building hotkeys, let's talk about order or command hotkeys. The reason why I'm bringing up order and command hotkeys is, again, in a way that you can add additional actions per minute, or gain additional impact into a game with fewer actions per minute. So I believe we're going to talk about 3 different movements. Yes, 3 different movements. So the first one is going to be patrol. Actually, I take that back. We're going to talk about 4. The first one is going to be patrol. The reason why patrol is important is really twofold. If you have air units, it'll allow you to first off set a rally point, and then you can set a patrol route for things coming out of this factory. So if I want to set a patrol route for interceptors as they come out of this factory, so that way they don't have to take off, orient themselves, they're already flying, which a lot of air players will do. This is a really good way to do that. The other thing that you can use patrol for is for reclaiming. So taking engineers, and if you just set an engineer on a patrol route, as long as you have space in your mass storage, an engineer will automatically reclaim everything along this path, and will even deviate from this path to a good amount in order to reclaim things. So great way to grab reclaim. Patrol and attack move do the exact same thing though whenever it comes to reclaim. So this is a good segue into attack move, which is the next command that we're going to talk about. That can be accomplished by holding Alt and then right clicking. So we can see that this engineer is going to move to this point and reclaim everything along the way. So what is the primary difference? As you'll see, this engineer will get to this point and he will stop. So he's not going to keep moving. This means that if our mass storage was full or close to full, the engineer will just move to a point and will not reclaim anything along the way. That's one of the things that Supreme Commander has coded into it, is if your mass storage is mostly full or full, your engineers will not reclaim things, because that would be wasting mass, which is a good thing. But if you're a noob like me, you don't do a great job, and you don't do a great job balancing economy, and sometimes you'll find yourself floating a good amount of mass, then patrol can actually help you out a good amount. So if you set a patrol route, then the engineer will just continuously move along this patrol route and reclaim things. So the upside to this is you won't ever have idle engineers sitting around with a full mass storage whenever you're missing out on reclaim opportunities. Downside is though, this engineer will continue going along this path into perpetuity until the game ends, unless you tell it to do something else. So two different ways to approach it. One is definitely a little bit more of a crutch and a little bit more of a noob tactic, but can still be very helpful. Okay, so third one is going to be reclaim. Reclaim is the manual reclaim option is E, at least that's what I have it set up. I think this is what default is. So why would you do this? Two reasons why you would use this hotkey to reclaim things. Number one, you want to speed up reclaim. If we have, and we will make an example here, but if we have a series of power generators and we control K all of these and bring our engineer over and tell him to do attack move to reclaim. Actually, we're just going to build another engineer, but have him do attack move to reclaim things. This is going to take a good amount of time because the engineer will kind of be a little bit lazy in the way that he reclaims. So have him go here, then attack move up there. And actually, this isn't even going to work because I have full mass. So let's forget about this, but just take my word for it. It's going to be a little bit slower. Whereas if you have engineers doing this, pushing E and automatically commanding it, he will just jump right from the next to the next to the next. So this is a great way to gain more rocks or reclaim faster in the middle on settings, things like that. The other time where you might use this, and I'll put a link or put a little snippet here of the last video, is using your engineers to reclaim other engineers. Is being able to use this hotkey, is being able to use E and then shift and then click all of the enemy engineers will allow you to gain an upper hand in speed. Talking about literally creating actions per minute out of nowhere. So if you were trying to go down here and click E and go up here, your opponent will probably have already reclaimed all of your engineers. We'll have a link, I'll put a little snippet right here about where that ends up happening and how that actually translates into real game performance. Drop quickly, drop quickly. Drop quickly, drop quickly, thank you. Reclaim, reclaim, get owned. Okay, so as you can see, and I don't mean to like toot my own horn there, but I would have never been able to pull that off if I wasn't using E hotkey for reclaim. Okay, last one that you're gonna use, and this one you're gonna use much more sparingly, and I use it mostly as a quality of life thing, is U for unload whenever you have a air transport. So this is really just a quality of life kind of thing. If you're trying to drop, it's going to be much easier again for you to do U, drop in a particular area instead of having to kind of shift Q, or instead of having to shift Q or manually click it. It's again giving you more time to think and have more actions per minute within a game. Okay, so moving on to the last kind of family of hotkeys, and this is selection hotkeys. This is the one that I am the weakest on, so I will not try and claim any degree of expertise on this, but with selection hotkeys, you can do a lot of really cool things. And we can see if we go to the key bindings menu, this is incidentally where you go and set up all of your hotkeys. So alternative hot building, these are all different keys that I could set up for different things if I want to, as well as additional hot buildings. But we're talking about selection right now. And the one that I find the most helpful on the selection side is going to be select all air fighters. And the reason I have this bound to 2, we'll see if this holds true. So I have this bound to 2, and this is also a button on my mouse. So the reason why this is important is because if your commander gets in trouble and you're trying to micro him around, send him through a bunch of units and dodge artillery fire, things like that, you don't really have the ability to zoom out, go find your fighters over here on the other side of the map, and then come back over here and call them in to help give you air cover to keep bombers or gunships off of you. You just need to be able to select all of your fighters and have them come give your cover to your commander almost immediately without being able to zoom out, allowing you to micro. So the selection hotkey, this is the one that I am the worst at, but again, one that can be very helpful in practical scenarios. So now let's go about a methodology on how you can set these up. So where should you set these up on your keyboard? And really, it's going to be what's comfortable for you is the best answer for that. The way that I have these set up is I used to play a game called Dota 2, if you guys are familiar with MOBAs. And so I was very comfortable with QWER, tab, D, F, spacebar, as well as a couple of keys in that vicinity. It also just happens that that's where my left hand rests relatively well whenever it's sitting on the armchair of my desk, or the arm of my desk chair. So I have it set up as Q is mass extractor, W is templates, and we'll probably address this in maybe another video, but definitely want to create some templates. If you had to create 2, it would be this one, which is the point defense and wall setup, and then the factory template, this one. So where you can get good surround on a mass extractor and get that mass bonus. The way that you can set these up is if you build this manually, so spend some time building this, you can actually go to selection and storage and hit save template. So save whatever templates are easiest for you. The ones that I would recommend as just a most basic thing are these 2. Again, same rules kind of apply. You can go through different templates. But so I have W tied to templates. I can tap through different ones. E is my reclaim button. R is factory. So again, just common buildings that I know I'm going to be building a lot. A is power generator. So those are the 5 hotkeys that I use the most, in addition to P for patrol, as well as Alt for attack move, and then U for unload. So that would be a good, I think, starting point for kind of a general hotkey mapping. But again, this is just the way that I do it. Definitely do what is most comfortable for you. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video there. If you guys got any value out of this or feel like this is gonna help you, which I hope it does, because I genuinely do want to help people and make this game a little bit more accessible. And I know that I've been getting a lot of support on YouTube in the comment section and the likes, and I really appreciate it, guys. I know that I only have like 10 or 11 subscribers, and most of my videos only get a handful of views, but the support that you guys get really does mean a lot to me, regardless of even though I'm not a channel that has millions of followers or subscribers with hundreds of thousands of views. It really means a lot to me that you guys show your support through the comments, liking the videos, and really taking the time to watch the videos. So if you guys found value out of this, please let me know. I appreciate hearing that the stuff that I'm doing is actually worth it to somebody. And the second thing that you can do is give the video a like. Just literally click that button. I'm not going to ask you to do anything else, but we'll go ahead and wrap the video there. That's enough of me self-promoting, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.